Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the vampire flower. This is one of the most famous variants in the entire game. Today I'm going to be talking about her gimmick, her strengths and weaknesses, and strategies that are useful for her. So there's a lot to take in here, so everyone sit back, grab a snack, relax, and since you're already here, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. It'll really help spread this video and it'll really help me out. Anyway, let's get into talking about vampire flower. So this character has a pretty cool gimmick. As you can see, I'm at 55 health right now. When you shoot, you regain health. Most people who play the game know that that's a pretty cool gimmick. And it actually is a very useful gimmick. But it's a little more complicated than you might think. As this character is a little more complicated than you might think. What are this character's strengths? Well, here we go. She has a nice amount of ammo at 35 with the ammo upgrade, 30 without the ammo upgrade. She has a decent reload as well, even if you're not running the reload upgrade. Her projectile speed is really good at 500, matching the stuffy flowers, when the other sunflowers average around 370. If you're curious why my projectile speed is really good, because tracking people from range is really important in this game, and this character does a great job of it. I also just earned some rewards points. Another strength of the character, as this is for all the sunflowers, is their really good movement speed. This really helps the character. If this character was slow, she would be in big trouble a lot of the time. Being able to move around and shoot and regain your health makes this character actually pretty good at sustaining itself in certain scenarios. I'll go over what scenarios absolutely destroy this character though. But yeah, for strengths, she has a good amount of ammo, she has a decent reload, and overall decent damage output when compared to the other variants, kinda sitting in the middle of all the sunflowers. She has the same rate of fire as the regular sunflower, but she has a slower rate of fire compared to variants like the stuffy flower and the shadow flower obviously. But I do think her high projectile speed makes up for that quite a bit. For accuracy, all the sunflowers have the same amount of accuracy. It's not very noticeable, but it is a tiny bit of recoil as you can see. So I'm going to unload the entire clip and I would like you guys to watch the reticle in the center of the screen. As you can see, it's ever so slightly moving up. So yes, the sunflowers do have a bit of recoil, but it's very easy to control and it's practically unnoticeable. So yeah, tracking with this character is really nice. All the sunflowers have really good accuracy. So that's another strength that this character has. This character has a unique upgrade, which is the vampiric upgrade. This is the only character in the game that has this. Now what this does is it increases the amount of health gained from each shot. So it's not affected by critical hits, okay, headshots, you don't gain more health. It's just each shot you gain a set amount of health. If you don't have the upgrade, you get 2.97 HP back per shot. And then with the health upgrade, you get 3.713. Yes, I did check in the game's files to see the exact value of this, and 3.7 health back per shot is pretty good, especially with this character's rate of fire. So if you are low and if you're in a safe spot, this is a very good method to get back to higher health. Now let's go over the character's weaknesses. Well, I think the most important one is the health. This character only has 85 health. Keep in mind all the sunflowers have 110 health, but it is optimal to run the health upgrade on all the sunflowers because that extra 10 HP really adds up, and I'll explain a little bit right now why. For example, with the vampire sunflower, regularly having 85 health means that, for example, something that does like 30 damage, like Deadbeard, he can 3-shot vampire flower because it's 90 damage. 85 is obviously less than 90, so you go 1, 2, 3, vampire flower is dead. Now with that health upgrade, he could survive, or she could survive 3 bullets or more. So 1, 2, 3, now she has like 5 health, so you have to do 4. So yes, the health upgrade really adds up, and in a lot of matchups, it can completely change the game. Now another thing health upgrade is cool about is because one of the best abilities for Sunflower is the solar flare beam. So a little bit about solar flare beam, it has a ton of ammo, less than the sunbeam, but it makes up for it with perfect accuracy. Hit scan. So yes, solar flare beam has hit scan accuracy, meaning it's instant contact with anything it touches. It also has really good damage output, and of course it gives you armor. So when you are in this mode, you take less damage. Now it doesn't benefit vampire sunflower as much, obviously, because she has less health, but it is a bonus to help her stay alive a little bit more. There's also another way to keep your sunflowers alive, which is obviously the heal flower. The heal flower is really good for a variety of reasons. It could stop fire damage, it could stop toxic damage. Of course, it could help others around you, but I think the self-sustainability of it is obviously its biggest strength. So you could keep yourself at high health when you're near this ability. Something I actually notice a lot, and I get comments about quite a bit on my ability-centered videos, is the dark flower. People think that the dark flower is actually pretty decent to run on the vampire flower because she could sustain her own health with her primary. Now this is a pretty interesting take. I do understand where people are coming from with this, but I do think that you do need the heal flower because it really can keep you at high health and it could really save you. Kind of like how those extra health upgrades can save you. The extra health with the sun drops that they drop is really helpful, of course, because it could stop fire damage as well. Fire damage can really destroy this character because if you have lower health, fire damage is really scary to you. The dark flower is a cool combo in concept, but when you really think about it, it doesn't really work well. But it is fun to pull out sometimes, and it does match the character pretty well. Kind of looks like Vampire Flower's child. So as I was talking about upgrades with the health upgrade, so that's a really good upgrade to run. And then of course, ammo upgrade, like I said, it gets you 5 more ammo, and then reload decreases the reload time. This is preference based. If you like quicker reload, use that, but I'm an ammo guy myself. I play more range, so that extra bit of ammo is really important for me. Like I said, the vampire upgrade is pretty important to run because it makes your main gimmick a lot better. Now, when it comes to the ammo upgrade, I do think this can be switched out for another upgrade, which is the speed upgrade. On a base level, the speed upgrade doesn't seem that helpful, but on a character like Sunflower that's already extremely fast, that value that the speed upgrade adds, the percentage, really can take the character's speed up by quite a bit. So yeah, the speed upgrade is really good. Even on all characters, using a speed upgrade is really important. The character already has 30 ammo, so if you're okay with that, you could go really fast with speed upgrade. And I highly recommend using the speed upgrade on other Sunflowers. For example, I notice a lot of people when they play regular Sunflower, they run reload and ammo. On this character, I run health, damage, and speed. Keep in mind, this character has a whopping 50 ammo. Why do you need an ammo upgrade on a character with 50 ammo? That's a little silly. So yeah, very customizable with its upgrades. Now yeah, the Vampire Flower is obviously not very customizable, which is unfortunate. Due to the character just having low health, that's basically a force to use the health upgrade. Now instead of a damage upgrade, this character obviously has the vampiric upgrade, so that's kind of takes a spot for that. And like I said, ammo reload speed is a preference thing. Now, however, that's another thing. The character's damage output is kind of less than all the other ones. It matches characters more like Power Flower, Metal Petal. But of course, the character has a better projectile speed, which is really good. So yeah, the character has a lot of strengths, but also the biggest weakness being the health. So let's talk a bit about that. Now actually, Sunflower's got a 10 health HP boost in an update. So believe it or not, this character actually used to have 75 HP, which is really rough. So yeah, there was quite a bit of a buff for this character. Now another thing for this character is obviously the damage output. Since this character doesn't have a damage upgrade, it is a little bit rough, and I do think her damage output is very similar to the Alien Flower, but they obviously both serve significant differences. Now, the projectile speed is a reason to play this character, but I do think the Stuffy Flower does a better job at that aspect, because they have the same projectile speed. The Stuffy Flower does more damage, has more health. If you do like the gimmick of Vampire Flower, it is quite fun to use, but the character does have a lot of issues. Like I said, the health. Garden Warfare 2 was a game where you could really flank people or catch people off guard, and Vampire Flower has a really big head. They all have a really big head. All the Sunflowers, or I like to call it a crit box, because you take more damage if you take damage to the head. this character can just evaporate Vampire Flower. Just any character that has a high damage output. Sky Trooper is just an example. Obviously you could just see a Vampire Flower, sneak up on them, not even at mid-range. This character doesn't really stand a chance, which is why I really do think running the heal flower is really important on this character, because that extra bit of health with the health upgrade is really good. This character benefits least from the armor of the Sunbeam, but Sunbeam and Solar Flare Beam in particular, really good ability because of its accuracy and damage output. Because this character has lower damage output from range, it really does help out the character, but that doesn't really make up for the fact that you know, the primary is just kind of weak from range, which is a little bit rough, but projectile speed is super duper cool. So I was thinking something cool to talk about is like buffs, I suppose, for the character. Now a lot of characters have cool gimmicks, like for example, Motocross Star, well, it doesn't say it in its description, and Tennis Star, they have faster movement speed. Vampire Flower is one of those characters that I really do think should have had faster movement speed. If the character had faster movement speed, I think it would significantly make it better. You could dodge attacks easier, and then that makes up for the lower health, and then it will help out the other gimmick as well. This character is the same speed as all the other Sunflowers, obviously with Metal Petal being a different speed because she's slower, but she makes up for that with the higher HP. So yes, the Vampire Flower is a cool concept, but it doesn't really work in practice. Now there is a way I do think this character is pretty good in, and it's a very niche game mode. Garden Ops. The character is actually pretty good in Garden Ops, but other than that, the character is just very outclassed. Yeah, but the Vampire Flower, it's cool, very cool design, but her gimmick doesn't work too well. She's still a Sunflower, so she has really good strengths with her abilities, and yeah, it's just really her low health and her little bit of lower damage is what holds her back, but she's still a decent character. It's just she kind of doesn't really have a lot of things that the other Sunflowers have. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think of Vampire Flower in the description below, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you made it this far, please subscribe, like the video, and yeah, I'll be talking about more characters in future videos because I do think having a deep analysis on characters is very interesting. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and take care. Bye.